Hello and how's it going everyone? It is Skullzi here with the latest gaming news, rumors, and speculation. I currently have a fairly large Starfield video project underway which should be uploaded within the next couple of days or so. However, today I want to talk about some of the more confirmed information regarding the exact setting of Starfield, only the situation isn't quite as exact as some would like it to be based on an official Bethesda statement. There has been quite a bit of discussion and debate as to what this particular statement could have meant, but fear not, as I believe I have the answer for you all today, or more specifically what I not only think Starfield's exact setting is, but at the same time the exact size, more or less, of the actual in-game playable area, and this might just blow your mind away a bit, so with this prologue out of the way, let's get straight into today's content. First off, this information and discussion is all based on one simple statement made by Bethesda Game Studios design director Emile Pagliaro in a Constellation Log update video. For those that don't know, Bethesda has given us somewhat regular surprising updates on the lore and setting of Starfield in a series of short but informative videos, all part of the Constellation Log series. You can sign up to receive notifications when Bethesda releases new Constellation Log updates over on their official website. In one of these videos titled The Settled Systems, Emile literally tells us the exact location and setting of the game, including what seems to be the massive in-game area that we'll actually get to explore within Starfield, which is something I think a lot of people might have actually missed. However, there is something that definitely confused everybody here, and it's this particular statement made by Emile right here.
We're very excited to offer you this exclusive look at Starfield and the exciting universe we've created, which is an area of our solar system we call the Settled Systems.
This is where the community has a confuse. I've seen several debates and discussions over what Emile actually meant to say here, as his wording seems to not be entirely clear and concise. He says the game takes place in an area of our solar system called the Settled Systems. His exact words were literally an area of our solar system, meaning local to our solar system, where our home planet, which is known as the Earth by the way, is located. Activate confusion mode here, because many aren't quite exactly sure what Mr. Emile Bethesda Man means by this. Did he mean an area of our solar system, meaning literally the game takes place in an extended area that the Earth also happens to be local to, so our solar system as in humanity's solar system, or did Emile mean our solar system as in Bethesda's fictional system that was created for Starfield? Obviously, Bethesda is going to take some fictional liberties here, as our real-life current understanding of surrounding space isn't complete enough to accurately portray an in-game area where you travel around and explore random planets, but I still feel like Emile cleared up any potential confusion in his statement that many seem to have either overlooked or misunderstood. However, this statement in itself had some confusion aligned with it. Unfortunately, it seems like Bethesda missed the mark with being completely clear here. Here's what Emile said.
Because it's so depressing that you'd cry.
No, that's not what he said. I mean this.
Our game is set in the year 2330, in a relatively small pocket of the Milky Way, in an area that extends outward from our solar system for approximately 50 light years.
So the Settled Systems are literally an area that extends about 50 light years from our own solar system, as you heard Emile said. So again, if we take Emile's words literally here, then that would mean the Settled Systems is a massive area that extends about 50 light years in one direction from Earth, based on what he said, using his words. It's unknown how large this area would be otherwise than just extending 50 light years in one direction, but if that happens to be the size of the in-game explorable area, that would mean the game would be a lot larger than we expect. Of course, we won't really be flying around 50 light years of space in Starfield. It'll be gamified to represent what that amount of space would feel like in terms of flying around and exploring, especially with access to futuristic propulsion systems that actually allow such space exploration to be possible in the first place. It's going to feel a lot more accessible than it may seem when you just think of how large that area would be, is basically what I'm trying to say here. And with all this in mind, even a gamified 50 light-year chunk of space would offer a significantly larger amount of explorable planets and areas that we may have otherwise thought would happen and be in the game. Some people believe Starfield would have had like 7 or 10 or whatever explorable planets, for example. However, that number might be a lot larger based on Emile's statement here. Only Hang on a second, because like I said, here's some more confusion. While Emil's statement here is very clear and to the point, the graphic kinda contradicts what he is saying completely as he is saying it. Emil clearly says the settled systems are an area that extends about 50 light years from our own system. He says that very clearly, and there is no disputing what he is saying or misreading it. However, the graphic shows the settled systems as being a completely separate area about 50 light years from Earth, and not an extension of our own local system. To explain this further, if this was an extension, that would mean it starts in one area, being our solar system in this circumstance, and expands 50 light years towards another direction. And by Emil's exact wording, the settled systems is an area that extends 50 light years from our own system. So naturally, if it is an extension, it encompasses this entire area, not what the graphic shows, because the graphic shows it as being a separate system completely far away from Earth and not an extension. So again, more confusion here. I don't know if this was on purpose by Bethesda to just kind of like confuse us and not let us know exactly what the setting is so they can still surprise us. But yeah, I am totally getting what the community is saying here in terms of it being a bit confusing for sure. But luckily there is some surrounding information that helps us clear this up a bit, and all at the same time it also seems to confirm that the in-game area is indeed a gamified version of 50 light years or so of space, which is pretty huge and actually goes with what Emil was saying. For this clarification, we have to turn to one of the first Constellation Log update videos titled Into the Starfield. This behind-the-scenes dev diary of sorts was released directly after E3 2021 and featured a lot of interesting concept art and additional information. Also additional scenes of Todd Howard and friends, yay! During this video we saw the very same Emil typing up an in-game document that we can actually see in the E3 2021 trailer itself. So we can see the document being created and then set into the trailer basically. This document seems to be an in-game communication or memo from a faction in-game to the player themselves, seemingly from the United Colonies and a few other in-game factions. And the purpose of the memo and the document is to update everyone as to what the Pirates and the Crimson Fleet have been doing in the settled systems. And this document actually also gives us the exact location of one of the settings confirmed to be in the game, and that location is New Atlantis, a major location in-game as it happens to be the capital of arguably the most powerful faction in Starfield, the United Colonies. The city of New Atlantis is located on the planet known as Jameson thanks to this document, and also according to this very same document, planet Jameson is located within a very real Alpha Centauri system, which is exactly 4.3 light years away from Earth. So with that in mind, with the planet Jameson confirmed as being in an in-game location which exists in real life, so we know exactly how far it is from Earth, and with Emil's exact words as the settled systems being an extension from our own solar system, I think that what's going on here is it's basically both possibilities here. It's Emil being right and the graphic being right. The settled systems are indeed a separate system like the graphic shows that is roughly 50 light years from our own. However, the in-game area is the entire chunk of space between our own home system and the settled systems, including the settled systems themselves and maybe even potentially our own home system. I say all this for two reasons. First off, it's confirmed the game takes place in the settled systems. That much is obvious and requires very little extended explanation, and combined with that, we know we'd be able to visit New Atlantis thanks to previous Constellation Log updates, which means the in-game map is one of two things, either a huge area that starts with our own solar system or just outside of it and extends 50 light years out, as Emil said, ending at the settled systems, or the game map is a collection of different pockets of space that aren't actually connected but we actually jump to and explore, like Mass Effect, or another example would be like Dragon Age Inquisition. You don't actually run the entire time from one end of the map to the other, but instead it's just different pockets, different large maps, different big areas you explore by doing a fast travel system to go from one area to another. It's one of these two things in my opinion. As usual when it comes to Bethesda Game Studios, one statement and answer leads to even more questions and speculation, but remember, the situation is still unclear as to whether or not it's one giant map or just separate pocketed maps, so a lot of the stuff in this video that is based on what Emil said should still be considered speculation. The The only way we will know just how large the in-game map is and whether or not it's segmented or just one giant map is by just being patient and waiting for official confirmation, which actually isn't that far away. I'm sure we'll continue to get updates in the forms of Constellation Logs up until E3 2022 and beyond, leading up until the game's release. And at the same time, I'm predicting E3 2022 is going to be huge, and Starfield will not only be the biggest game for Bethesda Game Studios E3 next year, but basically all of E3 in general. That's basically everything I wanted to talk about today, though. As always, thumbs up if you enjoy the content, be sure to subscribe to help the community grow, and huge shout out to the following amazing people for supporting the channel. Get your name added to this permanent future video shout out list by supporting the channel over on Ko-fi, Patreon, or here on YouTube as an exclusive channel member. Links for all this and more are down in the description below, as well as a link for Skullzi merchandise and the Skullzi Discord server. And as always, thank you for watching. Be sure to tune in next time when Starfield.
It just works.